So that time I got reincarnated as a slime is secretly bad. Yeah, let me make my case before you mash that button. So there are multiple problems with the show and I'll outline them in a second, but the real issue here is that, well, we all like the show anyway. So what's up with that? Well, before we can answer that, I'll need to explain why I think it's a poorly written show. Don't get me wrong, the animation is very nice. There's a lot of cool gimmicks and things in there I really like. But the story itself leaves something behind to be desired. First issue is that he's so overpowered that nothing really can stand in his way and block his goals. Which, by the way, are also an issue. I'll get back to the goals in a second. But just in the very first bit of the show, he solves quite a lot of problems just like that. Just look at this big snake. Oh, it's dead. Alright. So there's a war and oh, it's dead. Oh, alright. So the thing is, his overpoweredness is also sort of contagious. Like, everybody around him can suddenly beat up pretty scary looking dudes, if you ask me. And this in turn reflects back on Rimuru, which makes him appear sort of like a god. Wait a moment. A god, like the author. I know those symptoms. Mary Sue, is that you? No real major flaws. Well, yeah, liking elves like that isn't really a big issue, otherwise, I might as well give up. Oh yeah, lazy. He's really lazy.
There's no real point to it, but it's better than doing nothing.
Yeah, my lazy friends tell me that stuff every day. No real issues doing anything. Can do things nobody else can do. Yeah, that checks out. Often a sign of author insert or wish fulfillment. Yep. So where else do we see this Mary Sue character? Well, in trash tier fanfiction for once. It's really a staple of that. Mary Sue was originally a parody of fanfiction. That's how prominent it is there. So yeah, that's really not a very good sign for a story to have a Mary Sue. But that is in no way the coup de grace for the story. So let's continue by talking about ass pulls. Yeah, that's a technical term, I didn't coin that. And Brandon Sanderson's Laws of Magic. Specifically, let's talk about that scene where Rimuru shows Shizu that. The problem with this otherwise really nice scene is that it reinforces an idea. As Sanderson's second law puts it, limitations are more important than powers. This means powers don't make a character interesting. What matters is what they can't do. And the idea that this scene reinforces is that Rimuru has nothing he can't do. Nothing. It wasn't even hinted at before. No Chekhov's gun, no foreshadowing, nothing. But instead, it was deliberately avoided that the Great Sage, this cheat AI thing, interacted with other people than Rimuru.
Examining possibilities.
Hey, it's rude to ignore me to just talk to your own skin.
The ability is not really a character, it's a plot gimmick, and using it as a character just doesn't really work. And because it was already established that it wasn't meant to do this, it's really showing you there is no length the author doesn't want to go to make Rimuru overpowered and awesome. And that's the problem. Speaking of characters and breaking stuff for Rimuru, what does this guy and this wolf have in common? Well, they're burning loyalty for Rimuru, of course. And the problem with that is that it wasn't earned, they were just given to him because he's Rimuru. I mean, sure, maybe this leader wolf wasn't really a father figure as much as you'd want, but still, imagine a god showed up at your work and killed your boss. Well, yeah, you'd bend the knee, but eternal undying loyalty is maybe going a bit far, isn't it?
But though I lost my father, you spared the rest of us, even after defeating our clan, and then you gave us a new name.
And actually, most of the characters are quite flimsy and 2D. Often there is a little something tacked on to make them a little more realistic. Let's just take a case study of this guy. He's really just a generic evil corrupt guy. And well, there is a little something tacked on, that being he hates this guy because he was his superior. And now that this guy is a blacksmith quite far beneath him, he bullies him because he already has what he wanted. Also, notice how the punishment at the end isn't because he was messing with Kaijin, this dwarf guy, but it was actually because he was messing with Rimuru.
Now, because of your actions, we've severed our relationship with that monster. Thank you for your work.
Like, nobody should mess with the author incarnate. Come on, guys. Come on. So, alright, maybe the characters are kind of flat and, well, Mary Sue-esque, but maybe the world is rich and deep. Like in Made in Abyss, where there is this whole new thing. Or maybe the plot is just very solid. Well, the world is so generic that the main character Rimuru actually recognizes it from our world. Yeah. The potions, everything. It's so generic it can almost predict stuff. Yeah, that's not so good. So, what about the plot? There was something with a dragon and the girl and the village and they're not even related. What was Rimuru's motivation again? World peace or something? helping people, maybe? I guess? Gathering goblins and elves with generous assets, maybe? What? At least they have female goblins, unlike Goblin Slayer. So yeah, the plot is really all over the place, and it's really not very strongly suggested what he's actually doing, and these events just sort of wash over him. He's not even very proactive about things. And unfortunately, that is a lot of things that critics call parts of a bad show. If I gave a critic a draft containing all of those things, yeah, I would have a very bad time. And yet, we really like this show, and even on Mal, it's got a 8.29. Yeah, I know the old saying that Mal isn't the gospel, but it gives a really good idea about what shows are in and what are out. So the initial intuition of somebody who got stuck in the mindset that this is a terrible and irredeemable show would be to say, oh, it's just a power fantasy and the fan service. But there are a lot of shows with those things in it, and quite often they don't make it to even 6 in the score, like Isekaiwa's Smartphone, Master of Ragnarok from recently. Nobody really likes them, but they have all of these elements in abundance. So what is it? Well, I can't exactly put my finger on it. I think there's a lot of factors going into this. It's not really a straight-up comedy show, so that's not really what's carrying it, and even though the village building is kind of fun, it's really not that much in focus as maybe you'd like for a village building simulator. We don't get to actively see the buildings getting built, so we don't really have that strong an emotional impact when it's burnt down, so that's not it. It's really not the rule of cool either, even though there are some fantastic moments in there where the story actually does come together and foreshadowing and everything just plays together beautifully. But they are so scarce, it's really not that either. Even the characters actually put it together occasionally and deliver some really nice character moments and scenes that are just nice all the way through. But the fact that the show comes together on occasion just shouldn't carry the show like it does. It shouldn't be so well liked if that was all it did. So there's something else at play here, and I believe that could be this lighthearted, almost goofy feel that's just soaking the entire show. It reminds me of less serious shows like One Piece, where occasionally it comes together, but mostly it's just kind of fun and humorous. This goofy feel might actually also help to make the show really shine on what it does have to offer and make us appreciate it a lot more. Because like in Tom and Jerry, nobody's like, oh, the characters are kind of shit actually, even though they are kind of mean now that I think about it. So in the end, summing this up, I really think that Time I Got Reincarnated as Slime is kind of bad, but it's hidden away, so it's bad, but secretly. On the left hand, you'll see some more YouTube videos about That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime, but they are not from me, so if you decide to go, please consider subscribing first. On the right hand, however, there will be more from me about other things. So thanks for watching.